What's up guys, DUBKDAD here, getting better at the game, beating Dino-Rabbit. Yes, the deck can be beat, and as you see here, I have two decks that have naturally good matchups against the deck. The new Hero Bubble Beat deck, whatever you want to call it, and of course TG Stun, Photon Stun, with Skill Drain. By the very nature of these decks, they have a naturally good matchup. Super Poly can't be stopped by any of their cards. You resolve a skill drain, you make their exceeds worthless, and you just continue to rape them from there. But what if you're not running either one of these decks? How do you beat the deck? Well, we're going to explore some of the ways to overcome their setups and stopping their big plays, and then making them think twice about their plays. Now, one of the first things that I notice a lot of players, especially if they're a little overwhelmed by the Dino-Rabbit matchup, is they don't stop the Rescue Rabbit setup when they have warning. When they summon Rescue Rabbit, that is the time to solemn warning. Don't wait until they banish for effect of warning. Don't wait to warning the exceed when it comes out. Warning the summon. If you warning the summon, you cause two things. You force them to either have to have the monster reborn to get the play through, or they'll have to wait a turn and draw another Rescue Rabbit if they don't already have one, or they have to slow exceed because now they're drawing their normal dinosaurs, the Cobblezaws and Sabosauruses, and that's what you want. You don't want this thing banished, because if you wait until after it's banished, now you make their tour guides live. So long as they have no banished Rescue Rabbits, each tour guide they draw doesn't get them the Lever play to spam the rabbit. Now, something also to look at is if you can force them to Rescue Rabbit into your back rows. So you have your back row set, they go Rabbit, banish for effect, you have no response, and they go get double dinosaur. You have a couple options here. If they have no back rows, torrential, because a lot of times they're not going to attack, because if you simply have a dimensional prison, they attack 17, deprison. Now this other 17 will go through, but due to Rabbit's effect, this is just useless now, and they burned the summon just to do 17. They burned the Rabbit, they lost one of their dinos, and it's just no bueno. So torrential here, and that's granted that you don't read the Starlight Road. Now, if you do read Starlight Road and they have back rows, let them exceed into their, Solomosaurus. So they go Rabbit, banish for effect, get the two dinos, Lagaya, then torrential. Now you dodge the Starlight Road, and now they have two choices. The cool kids save the Lance, so now the Lagaya is protected, and they won't attack because they fear in the other back rows, and so they'll just set up. This is not too bad of an exchange because torrential's at 2, and you burn the Lance, so Guaiba's a little less scarier. If you manage to summon a monster bigger than theirs, there's one less Lance to worry about, so you can overcome Lagaya's attack, so that's fine. However, if they don't have the Lance and a Lagaya, they're going to be forced to detach to negate the torrential when you activate, and that's where you wombo combo. So you go torrential, they go no, detach, negate, chain Veiler. So now you've negated their negation, and the guy's destroyed. It sucks because you burn 2 cards on basically their 1 Rescue Rabbit, so you 2 for 1, or you 1 for 2, but you don't have to deal with the Lagaya, and you just have to worry about the back rows, and hopefully they continue to draw vanilla monsters, or they can't make another Rescue Rabbit play because they don't have any normals left in their deck, or they don't have two of the same normals in their deck. Also, if you have them, and they're going to be reprinted soon, the other Wombo combo, Torrential, Detach to Negate, and just like Effect Veiler, Phoenix Chain. So it sucks because you 1 for 2. They're one Rescue Rabbit essentially for 2 of your back row cards, but I just feel that getting rid of the Legaia is kind of important because that bitch kind of stays around for a while and it's annoying to deal with, so you just get it out of there. An important thing to note when you're playing against Rescue Rabbit is you can guarantee that when they rabbit banish for effect, they're going to bring out 2 Kabazals first. Reason being, 1700 attack is awesome on Tengu. It's awesome with Guaiba, but it's not so awesome with vanilla monsters. They don't want to draw the damn thing, so they get them out of their deck to begin with. Now, if they haven't made a Rescue Rabbit play, and they summon Rabbit, banish for effect, and bring out 2 Saber Sources, and let's say they have 2 or more cards in their hand, best believe they have these guys in their hand. And the reason I say that is, who wants to draw these things? They're going to get the Saber Sources if they're not pushing for game, because these guys are in their hand. If they had 1, they're going to get the other 2 so they don't draw them, and making everything all extra awkward. So Rabbit and the 2 Saber Sources, you check the graveyard. There's no Kabazals in the grave. You check their hand. They have 2, 3 cards in hand. 2 of them are Kabazals, and that's just a quick tell. And anybody who says, well, no, they could be bluffing or whatever, I call bullshit, because you don't want to draw these things. I mean, it's just that simple. You go for the Kabazals first, because at least 19 can clash with Thunder King. 17 is kind of worthless. So remember that tip. Being in a control deck, the deck runs a lot of back row, and oftentimes they'll Legaia, spam their back rows past turn. On your turn, you can always force negation. Summon your guy, your Thunder King, namely, because Thunder King always causes shit to happen. Force the warning, force the Legaia to negate, and then don't forget, it's always cool to match their sets. If you match their sets, even if they're bluffs, just be wary. Don't set too many bluffs. Don't set your Monster Reborn or your Dark Hole. But match their sets, because now you give the impression that you're not weak and you got something waiting for Legaia. Basically you tell them, I know Judo. You don't know if I got a D prison. You don't know if I have compulsed. You don't know nothing about me, home. So that's something to play mind games, and it's pretty important, because when you pass turn back to the Dino-Rabbit player, now they have to think, do they really want to summon a monster and force a Torrential? Based on the player, after playing, after watching them, if you played the person before, you can tell what kind of player they are. If they say, I don't give a damn, I'm summoning my dude. Now, it tells you a couple things. They're willing to burn a negation with Legaia, just so their Dino-Rabbit, or just so their summon doesn't get ruined by Torrential, or they have the Starlight Road, or they have the Lance and they just wanted to burn one of your back rows. So that that tells you one thing. If they just simply pass turn, then you know that you've gotten to them, because you know that they don't want to set off the Torrential because they don't have a Lance to protect the Legaia. They don't have the Starlight Road to protect their setup, and they don't really want to deal with your back rows. So in playing those mind games, you can gain a small measure of the advantage back and slow them down, allowing you to build up resources to overcome their setup. So I don't know how much attention you guys paid to the YCS in Europe recently, but if you noticed, Zen Meister crept up a lot in the extra deck. This is because the Dino-Rabbit players are wary of Mind Control and Utopia overlay for Chaos number 39. I suggest that you start running this card. You can get random OTKs, random huge beats, and it's a really good out. I mean, Monster Reborn and Utopia overlay, kick off the material, and you can run over stuff like quick, fast, in a hurry if your life points are where they need to be for his effect. So, since we don't have Pearl yet, players have been running Zen Meister to avoid that. I think that once Pearl is released, Zen Meister might still see play, and the reason being is the Dino-Rabbit player knows that if their opponent summons a monster with 2,401 attack points, their guys can't climb over it without help. So 2,500 that Zen Meister has when he has all of his materials, is a good answer. If it gets mind controlled, they kick off material, he loses attack, but at least they get it back in the end phase. Whereas if they mind control Utopia, then they go into Chaos 39 and they're kind of boned. The other thing about Zen Meister is players are going into Zen Meister because let's say you have Dolka, they have Dolka out and it's been Fiendish chained. Well, they summon Zen Meister, and Zen Meister has his little materials up under him. They can kick off a material from Zen Meister, Dolka face down. Now Fiendish chain is useless, and in the end phase, Dolka comes back up, and he's ready to negate again. So that's just something to consider and to think about when you're playing, that they have one more weapon at their disposal. The Fiendish chain isn't going to last forever. If you can't clear that Dolka after Fiendish chain, I'm pretty sure Zen Meister is coming in to save the day if they don't have the MST ready. Now there's always going to be us who like to run an interesting deck, and it's really fun, but it absolutely gets pooped on by Dino-Rabbit, and that's where good side decking comes into play. I've been talking to some good friends of mine, namely my buddy Pete Navarro, and he stumbled upon Arcana Force Zero the Fool. Basically, it replaces Spear Reaper in that they no longer have the Forbidden Lance as the additional out to clear the monster. Because you don't have to normal summon Fool and get his effect. The only effect that matters is when you set it, they attack, it can't be destroyed by battle. If it was Spear Reaper, they could just lance it at a later time, or if they want to push with the rest of the monsters, they can lance it and then continue attacking with the rest of the monsters. Another good thing about the Fool is if it's face down and they go to play Mind Control, they flip summon it. Now what are they going to do with that? You think they're going to summon Effect Veiler and then Synchro summon Formula Synchron? No, that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I don't think that the Dino-Rabbit player runs Formula Synchron because that situation is almost never going to come up. Were it to be a Spear Reaper, they can summon a Sang and a Tour Guide, overlay for, random Exceed. But with the Fool, he's stuck. The only advantage they get by mind controlling and putting this thing in attack mode is, due to his effect, he can't go back into defense mode unless it's by card effect. So now he's just a zero wall that they can attack through all day. So I suggest that when you play the Fool, when you're running the Fool, you sideboard the Fool, save your Book of Moon for the chance that it happens to get in attack mode, especially if they mind control and they want to keep it in attack mode. They try to feel that, well, it's an attack mode, so I can just attack through it all day with my guys because they can't clear it. Book of Moon this sucker, and so now you leave them with the only outs being Dark Hole if they run Smashing Ground, and Phoenix Chain, because this Phoenix Chain will negate it, and then now they can attack it and it'll be destroyed by battle. If you're like me and you run a pure archetype deck, I'm running Psychics, of course. Thunder King is super important. Thunder King has a lot of versatile matchups, in preventing summoning and negating summons of special summons, preventing searches, and 1900 beats is pretty good. Smashing Grounds, just another all-around great card. It clears monsters without wasting your summon, without risking battle, and especially cards like Absolute Zero and things like that. You don't want to have monsters on board anyway when you clear it. You automatically force Legaia to negate, or force them to use up a Lance. It just clears Dolka. And then finally, Compulsory. Now, I like this card a lot. It's a reactive card, and again, it's good in a lot of matchups. It bounces Zen mains. It bounces Zen Mighties when they try to throw up the Zen Mighty wall when you're playing against windups. It can help disrupt. Inzektor plays, and so I just feel that these are cards to consider when you're constructing your sideboard. Alright, so thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate you guys sitting through the videos. If you felt that there was something I missed, something that I got the information wrong, or something else that you'd like me to touch upon, please feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section. Also, if you like the video, please be sure to thumbs up. Whenever I see lots of thumbs up, it keeps me motivated to keep making videos for you guys. It lets me know that you guys are watching and that some of the work I'm doing is still appreciated. Once again, I just want to mention that I have a second channel. It's dedicated to fathers and children. I've said previously that a lot of the former Yu-Gi-Oh guys are now Yu-Gi-Oh dads like me, and I invite all you guys to come over and check out my second channel and let me know what you think. DUBKDAD, and I'm out.